How is Israel going to respond now that the Iranian regime has fired almost 200 ballistic missiles at the Jewish state? President Biden is telling Israel, don't overreact. My prediction that the Israeli government is actively thinking about launching the largest military attack on the Iranian regime in modern history. I think it's very possible on or near October 7th, the one-year anniversary, Israel's going to launch a decapitating strike against the Iranian leadership, including Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, and a decapitating strike that would destroy and neutralize the Iran nuclear program and Iran's oil refineries. Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg with a YouTube exclusive for the Rosenberg Report. I'm at the White House and I want to walk you through why I think that's what to watch for, right? Now, there's a lot of factors, and I'm not here to try to formally predict. I'm not a fortune teller, I'm not a prophet, I'm not a psychic, and I don't play one on television. I'm just saying that a lot of people are asking me right now, why hasn't Israel responded already? As I record this, we're 24 hours after almost 200 ballistic missiles rained down on the Jewish state. The worst attack by Iran since April, and actually the second only attack that the Iranian regime has launched directly from Iranian soil at Israel ever in all of modern history, right? So Israel hasn't reacted yet. But just Wednesday morning, October 2nd, President Biden, just as he prepared to leave the White House and board Air Force One, warned Israel. It's interesting. President Biden is warning Israel: don't escalate. Have a proportional response. Don't hit Iran's nuclear facilities. There was a lot of language of warning, and I don't know if the word threatening is right, but you didn't hear out of Biden warnings to the Iranian regime that the United States and Israel and our allies were going to take serious, decisive action to neutralize this wicked Iranian terrorist regime. All the language right now is about pressure on Israel. Now, this is reminiscent of the pressure that President Biden and Vice President Harris put on Israel in April, when Iran at that point fired 321 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and suicide drones from Iranian territory, not from Hezbollah territory in their weapons supplies in Lebanon, or Hamas in Gaza, or the Houthis in Yemen. No, this was actually an Iranian direct missile and suicide drone attack from Iranian soil. Never seen that before in all of history until April. But when they did that, when the Iranians fired, the Biden-Harris team put enormous pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Don't do something big. Don't escalate the situation. I mean, here's Israel under attack from 7 different sides, including from Iran, and the President of the United States, supposedly Israel's best friend, was pressuring Israel not to, quote, overreact or escalate the situation. Iran's attack itself was a massive escalation. But Netanyahu listened and ordered Israeli forces only to fire a few missiles at a radar station that had been involved in the ballistic missile attack on Israel. And then that was it. And Netanyahu essentially said yes. He told the President of the United States that he wouldn't do anything big. But the second time this has happened, the question is Netanyahu going to listen again? This could go either way. And again, I'm telling you that I think Israel's getting ready in the coming days or weeks, but possibly on or around the one-year anniversary of October 7th, to pull off an October surprise, a massive military attack against Iran's top leadership, including a decapitation strike against any place that Israel thinks that supreme leader of Iran, the Grand Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, might be, and other top officials, as well as a massive military attack to destroy, neutralize, and eviscerate Iran's nuclear weapons program and all those facilities, as well as Iran's oil refining facilities. Why? Because that's the source of cash that Iran, has in order to fund all of its constant war activities against Israel. So that's what I think we need to be watching for, and that's what we need to be praying the Lord would have mercy on Israel, and we pray for the peace of Jerusalem, the security of Israel in the midst of this type of showdown. In Israel's darkest hour, a lot of people are asking me, how can we help? How can we support Israel in its time of greatest need and be part of that biblical mandate found in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, where God is speaking of blessing those who bless the people of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Well, a great way to do it is to partner with our sponsor of today's edition of the Rosenberg Report, ARTSA. Go to artsabox.com. Use the discount promo code RR15, Rosenberg Report 15, to get a 15% discount off the price of your ARTSA box. They are literally a taste of the Holy Land, and they come directly to your home in a beautiful box that contains potpourri, a range of all kinds of products made in Israel by all kinds of Israeli artisans, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. You're going to love them for yourself, for your family, and they make great gifts as well. Check it out. Go to artsabox.com, use the discount code RR15, Rosenberg Report 15, and I have no doubt that you'll love these boxes, these ARTSA boxes, as much as Lynn and I do. If you look at how Israel responded to Iran's attack in April, you'd say, well, probably Netanyahu and his government won't take big decisive action the way what you're watching for, Joel. You may be right. But look at what happened about 10 days ago when President Biden, again, demanded that Israel de-escalate and agree to a 21-day ceasefire in Lebanon. Now, it wasn't just President Biden sort of demanding this 21-day ceasefire from Israel. It was also French President Emmanuel Macron and other world leaders. And they issued a statement, again, this demand, 21-day ceasefire. One word that was missing, curiously, from the statement by the President of the United States was the word, wait for it, Hezbollah. Hezbollah was not mentioned in the statement. So who was Israel supposed to be ceasing fire with? Right? There was no pressure on Hezbollah, no pressure on Iran that funds, fuels, arms, trains, directs Hezbollah, which is a wholly owned subsidiary terrorist organization of the Iranian regime. But Biden and Macron and others did not put pressure on Hezbollah or Iran. They put pressure on Israel. But that time, Prime Minister Netanyahu respectfully disagreed and decided to go for the jugular. Instead of listening to the President of the United States, Israel's most important ally, Netanyahu decided, no, I'm going to authorize the Israeli military to do a decapitation strike against the leadership of Hezbollah. And so, in broad daylight, in Beirut, on Friday, October 27th, Israel dropped 80 tons of bombs on the underground facility, the command and control center of Hezbollah, killing the leader of Hezbollah, Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, who was in that bunker. Israel knew he was in that bunker. They knew exactly where he was, and they killed him, even though he was 60 feet underground in this very secure, Nasrallah thought, facility. Israel did that. But not only did Israel take out Nasrallah, they took out and assassinated 18 of the top 18 most senior, most experienced Hezbollah terrorist commanders. And Israel set into motion an operation which blew up pagers of some 4,000 Hezbollah operatives, senior and mid-level, wounding them severely or killing them, and thus causing Hezbollah operatives not, they were already told by their leader, Nasrallah, not to use cell phones because Israel can track them and listen. And now they were using pagers to communicate, and now Israel had blown up all their pagers simultaneously in a shocking development. So then the Hezbollah operatives moved to walkie-talkies, but they just recently purchased new walkie-talkies, and guess what? Israel had wired those with explosives, and many Hezbollah operatives were injured or killed as well. So this was Netanyahu saying effectively, Mr. President, I don't agree with you. Now is not the time to do a ceasefire. Now is the time to go for the jugular, to decapitate the Hezbollah leadership. And then Israel launched 2,500 airstrikes against all kinds of missile sites that Hezbollah had all over southern and middle Lebanon as an effort to try to neutralize and destroy Hezbollah's capacity to fire 150,000 missiles at Israel. So the big question now is, with Iran supposedly avenging the assassination of Nasrallah, their main ally, right, in Lebanon, the question is Israel going to listen to President Biden and do nothing or do hardly anything, or is Israel going to take this moment to launch the biggest attack in history, military attack in history against the Iranian leadership? Many commentators and pro-Israel analysts and legislators and officials are starting to say publicly what I wrote about this morning, Wednesday morning, October 2nd, as the lead story in All Israel News, which was October's surprise. It's time for Israel to decapitate Iran's leadership and destroy Iran's nuclear and oil facilities. And now we're beginning to hear former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, whom I was just with interviewing about a week ago, he has said it's time. He agrees it's time. Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the most influential senators here in Washington, is saying it's time. It's time for Israel to take the gloves off. So that's what I'm watching for. I don't know what it's going to play out, how it's going to play out. We're going to continue to track this at All Israel News and, of course, on the Rosenberg Report. And keep praying, because this is a dark and dangerous moment, and it's definitely not over yet. So please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem, and we'll keep tracking exactly what plays out in the hours and days ahead.